What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Draven, and welcome to Thorium Gaming. We're back with episode 3 of Knightly Valor, our Mortal Empire's campaign to bring the glory of the Lady to all the lands, and hopefully not got steamrolled by chaos in the meantime. Over the last 2 episodes, we've started off with a rocky start. First we had the undead take out our friends in Lyonesse, then we had Marienburg and the Orks coming in. Thankfully the Empire took Grungzinkt and kind of conquered some of that threat. Marienburg's still at large, but we have a much more green problem. We have to take out these orcs and deal them a fatal blow. So we're going to start off with that, if it's inside of our... and it's not. I'd rather not auto-fight it, though. Key reason being, our Pegasus Knights are hurt right now, and I don't want to lose them. And we have enough cavalry and some pretty veteran infantry. We're actually going to fight this one out. See if we can fight a few more battles than normal during our High Elven campaign. We're going to be getting a lot of you guys in here pretty quick, but the start of the campaign's been tough as far as things have been going. Languille got raided by Orks, and the Greenskins have generally been a big Gork-and-Mork style pain in the butt. So we're going to try and deal with them in classic Bretonnian fashion. By which I mean we're going to assemble our infantry. Of course, peasants who are not knowledgeable of all of the tenets of honor and chivalry. And we're going to let them take the brunt of the assault. Meanwhile, our knights are going to do the real work. We're going to set them up properly, get them into the lance formation, and hopefully run down a few of these archers before they can get close. We do have to be careful with our Pegasus Knights. I don't want to lose any more of them than is absolutely necessary, which means that few is Lady Blessedly possible. And all of the orcs and goblins are in range of our trebuchets. We'll put Lady Ryan, yes, Lady Ryan in the middle there. And I'm going to start King Lewin down here. That way we can get into this fight pretty quickly. So let's advance our Knights of the Realm up a little bit. Get them in a place for a good side-on charge. We should see the first pieces of masonry get fired out of the catapults. With a satisfying crunch into the orc ranks. The only thing that's worrying, even slightly, is they have spider rider archers. Skirmishing cavalry that can generally be not too much fun. Let's see if we can kind of delay them a little bit with letting Ryan loose off some electricity. That's a pretty decent hit. Oh, we let our knights get charged. Silly me for paying attention to the magic when we should be paying attention to the center of the fight. But we're going to get our infantry in there now to see what we can do about slowing these guys down. And Lewin is going to take on Gutstabber, the orc warlord responsible for all of this barbarity. Might as well pop the lion shield right away. Give him the extra defense he's going to need. Strength of the Bretonnians has always been on the charge.
Men at arms! Ready for battle!
This battle should be over significantly quickly. Spider Riders are routed.
Ready for battle! King Lewin Leocan! Knights of the Realm!
That Error Boy unit is going to be wiped out. But we're not going to waste too much time in here. I think these guys were already on the run. Either way, it's a small victory for us. We lost one guy. One. To 210. I'm pretty sure it was a knight that went down. but one knight is worth killing off 210 greenskins. So we're going to call that about equal. And of course we are going to execute them and keep our leadership, and that wipes out the orc threat in our realm. And Lewin has gained Confident Attacker. More leadership when attacking, gives us a little bit more chivalry, and we killed the enemy in battle. Let's see, we got a level for him too. It's so nice that we don't have to get the vows as we go along. Makes all the knightly units with him cheaper, but we're definitely taking the ladies champion. Passive regeneration is awesome for knightly characters, and the quicker we can get him up to a Royal Pegasus and then Bequee, the better off we're going to be. Now we can send him back towards Couronne. We are still losing a bunch of our control per turn because of the silly little greenskin incursion. It's going to last another 8 turns. We may have another orc incursion before it's all said and done. And of course, we're still building back up Languille after all of the Marienburg bother and the orcs coming in. Should be repaired shortly, and then we can see what we can do with it. But that's going to do it for the start of this round, so let's see what the other nations do. In theory, I probably should have done some negotiating with the other Bretonnian dukedoms, but for right now, it's fine. We just have to worry about the vampire counts to the south of us, Mousillon. And that's kind of what I was afraid of right there, was Marienburg coming back. I don't know if we'll be able to reach them and fight them in an open field. Marienburg has harassed us twice now? 2 separate armies? So we're going to have to deal with them. Now, taking Marienburg itself would be gloriously beautiful, but I don't think we're going to be able to take on Marienburg in its totality. So instead what we're going to have to do is get close to Couronne. Big thing is we don't want to leave any of our lords in any city that doesn't have a chapel for too long. And over here, we're going to have to get some peasant fields. Now, the peasant economy can be a benefit and a major, major downfall, depending on how you look at things. We need the fields for right now. Everything's based off the peasant economy. But later on, if we look into our tech tree, if we go to improve construction and then we go through bigger bobbins and all of these areas, we can actually go over to technological side of things, which makes the peasant economy less of an impact on us. But right now, peasants are everything. So we can't actually increase the size of our armies. So let's see what we can do with Baston. They don't want to get an agreement like that. And now we have a military alliance with Artois, which allowed us to see Paravon. We can sign a non-aggression pact with them. Saucissone, I don't know if we'll get military access with her, but Bordeaux we should be able to work things out with to a defensive alliance. There we go. So that kind of sets us up all nice and even, and of course with Albrecht being an underdog, one of his traits, he wants to confederate with other people. Now if he stays alive long enough for us to deal with the Red Duke, well, then we can confederate with him and get another legendary lord, even though he's not that great. I would much, much rather get the Fey Enchantress, but she's all the way down here. So it's not really a doable thing right off the bat. And we can see the Shrine of Cain, and it does have the Sword of the World Ender in it. There's a couple of battle remnants out there, but they're a little too far from our shores to do anything with right now. We'll have to get the good chaplain, Lord Phoenix, and Lord Khan's up to go do some stuff. But for right now, we don't really have much to do. Let's see what Marienburg decides to get on with. If they start raiding, we'll have a fight on our next round, and that'll help us out a fair bit. Of course, if the Bordeaux Paladin... Ooh, that is definitely not good. We have Wulfric the Wanderer coming in. Their infantry isn't great, but their warp wolves and their mammoths are incredibly intimidating. I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very defensive fight. And Marienburg's going into Artois' kingdom. I guess they're pulling back there. They're pulling back from our realm, too. If we could get a peace treaty going with them, it would be a lot better. What's Bohemund doing? He is the Duke of Baston, and one of my favorite characters within the lore for the Bretonnians. Bohemund the Beast Slayer works out pretty good. He's a fairly solid character, all things considered. And Norsca and the Scalings just confederated. I believe this is Norsca itself. Yes. So we don't have much information, but the Skin Wolves are definitely bad for us. Anything that's anti-large is anti-cavalry. Marauder Berserkers, Marauder Spearmen. Spearmen are bad. Regular Marauders are not trouble at all.
You seek the lady's favor.
Now we're still waiting on the available funds to
Leoncoeur.
increase our army size. We're going to move to the other side of Corone, though, if I can get off of the symbol.
On for
So
the
we're still in
lady.
reinforcement range, and we'll go into an encampment stance.
Stands with you.
If they go for Languille, we might have to go over and fight them. I don't know what Wulfric's planning on doing. Could be really, really good, could be really, really bad. Our forces are still slightly recovering. No point in upgrading our rally field at this particular moment because we don't have a smithy. And we can't afford to build a smithy. And of course the next thing we want to get is a Grail Shrine because it's so good for us. And then you can get the Devoted tag for your lords, and that just makes them all around better. So we're just going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens. Let the other nations do their thing. We'll get better research done on this. It looks like the Wood Elves and Paravon have gone to war. And Sassone has declared war on the Beastmen. Might have to move down to the coast. Because if they come ashore, I want to be able to be in range to reinforce Languille. I don't want them suffering again. We had to leave them to an Orc raid way earlier on. And now we'd have to risk a Norscan raid? Just no. We finally got some troops that can deal with things. Our lands are not getting swamped by the enemy. And Artois is on our side. So we'll see how that goes. Red Duke's moving out. It would be great if we could hammer blow Lyonesse and take it from them. But that's doubtful to be able to happen right now. And Tyrannoc's going to war with the Scourge of Cain. That's the western side of the island.
The light of the lady.
Alright, so under Morislieb's Glare, I can never pronounce the Chaos Moon. Your warriors range deep into hostile lands, but all is not well. There are dark omens abroad, as if the shadow of some horned god was watching from the evil moon above. The army is fettered by Morislieb's Glare. We can improve the omens for 1,500 gold and give us leadership, or do nothing. We can't afford the gold right now. And it seems Ryan has leveled up again. Oh, it's so tough to pick right now. I would love to get her some more spell power, but cleansing the corruption is going to be more important in the long run. So let's see if we can actually get a peace treaty with Marienburg.
All right.
Okay, with Marienburg off our back, we can focus on the south. Now we got the heraldry of Artois, so we can confederate with them, which is going to be a big thing. None of the decrees are going to be able to be done by the time we fight with the Norscans if we do. 3 turns? Hard to say. We're going to have to go with improved agricultural tools for right now.
I am the blood of Gilles.
And we're going to move down to the coast to help deal with the Norscans coming in.
The lion.
they go after Corone, it would take them a couple of turns to get into a position where they could actually do something about it. We're only making 1,000 gold coins per turn, but let's see if we can confederate. We can't yet, but if you look, we're already soaring up to 200 attitude with them. Because, well, they don't like our treaty with Marienburg. They just got a massive tolerance to us because of the heraldry. So in a few turns, we'll probably be able to take Artois onto our banner and call that done. And with Lyonesse out of the picture, it's not going to help us too much to get their heraldry, but it will give us some chivalry, which is always a good thing. And how far are we off of our... Yeah, we need another 309 chivalry to be able to summon the Green Knight once. Green Knight is a special hero unit that lasts for a few turns, and he straight up owns face. But we're going to have to give it over to the other nations and see what they do. I'm really interested to see what the Norscans do, because if we can catch them out on an open field, as opposed to anywhere else, that would be great. I think they're coming ashore. They're still in march stance. So I'm going to have to move back up north and see what I can do about them. No, we're not signing a non-aggression pact with you, Marienburg. We only want you off of our backs for so long. Eventually that's our way to move to the northeast and deal with the forces of chaos that are inevitably going to, you know, screw up the Empire and Kislev and partially the dwarves, but hopefully not the dwarves. Dwarves are really awesome in this. So they'll probably hold on to their mountain homes for a while, except for the ones in the extreme north.
King Lewin.
So we're going to move up just back in range of Corone.
Glory awaits.
See what Wulfric the Wanderer does. I'd love to bring him to battle on an open field, but I really don't know if it's going to happen. We could upgrade Corone. It would give us a much better garrison and we could be a little bit more aggressive. And it would increase our income a fair bit. I'd love to get a Grail Chapel, but I think this is going to be more important. So 4 turns and that'll do it, and we're expecting an Orc raid in 3 turns. So we'll see how it works out, which is why we need the Norscans to go away. I'm really kind of curious as to what's going on down there. Now normally I wouldn't take the strength of a damsel out of an army when we're expecting to fight something this big, but right now, Ryan, we need you to go down and start cleansing all the vampiric corruption in Lyonesse. It's starting to die, and we need to be able to take Lyonesse itself. And it's got a huge garrison now. We're really going to have to fight to take it down. Which means we're probably going to need a few more armies.
Let's hope we can come to... I accept.
But in the meantime, let's see what we can do for military access and defensive treaties. The more we can move around, the better off we're going to be.
Those who greetings, who seeks my wise counsel? Dark are these times, and dark my mood.
The laws of chivalry demand I hear you, as you say.
Alright, so Bordeaux is pretty much on board with us. I'd love to get a military alliance with them, but our relations with them are improving rather slowly. Grand scheme of things, I don't really want to fight the Wood Elves in Athel Loren, which is right here, I believe. It's around the mountains. I think it's right here. Yeah, it's due east of Brionne. So, while we can't see it yet, we will have to fight through it. It's actually right here. Yes, right there. So, I'd rather not fight them, but if we have to take back Bretonnian cities, so be it. Let's let the other nations do their thing, and we'll see how it goes from there. Alberic is doing some weird stuff. What is Wulfric doing? I can't afford... Well, we can't afford to let him take on any of our cities. Norsca's really building its power up north, though. They just confederated with the Gormandi tribe. Gormadni? Goromadni. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that name. That's a lot of peasants, Chilfroy. If we do end up confederating with Artois, I think that army... Why would he be raiding? That takes down your chivalry. That's not good. That's not knightly. Knights don't raid. That's kind of sad. But if we do end up confederating with Artois, we're going to have to basically disband that army and get some knights into it. So I think we're going to be dancing back and forth a little bit here. Mostly because we can't really afford to do much else right now. Again, I would love to get the Grail Chapel up, but we can do that in the next couple of turns.
What would you have of
Lady Ryan, we're going to use you as both a cleansing force and a scout. So we need to know what's going on down in that general area. I'd love to get another lord or a lady out there to start collecting these islands. Even a little bit of cash would help us, but with the Norscans right there, kind of doesn't make it easy to do without risking a whole lot. Let's see what we can get for lords right now. Lots of prophetesses. Virtue of heroism, that's not too bad. Audacity is really, really good. You know what? We might just have to pick that up.
Do you know who I am?
And for our naming conventions on this, all of our people are going to start with Lord. And in this case, going to be the Good Chaplain. So eventually we're going to send you out to do a bunch of stuff. For right now, you're kind of just going to sit near Corone and, you know, have fun. But eventually we can get you in on the fights too and start leveling you up, assuming you don't get murdered in the first little bit. But murder ball's a thing. So let's see what the other nations do, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. What is the Emperor doing? He's in Bretonia. Is he traveling to the water? I would think that he would be out east dealing with the vampire counts. Or the other empire nations that are all finicky. Unless he's in a war with Marienburg. But why would he leave Grungzint open then? Well, it's good for us in the long run anyway. If Marienburg takes Grungzint, we can take it later on when we go back to war with them. But for right now, we can't. The only reason we made peace with Marienburg in the first place was to kind of protect ourselves from the north. We don't really want to have to fight two battles at once. Those are some... Well, that was a massive dwarf army. I'm really curious where the Red Duke went. I think that's... Yes, that was him right there. His troops got a little banged up. That's the one thing with the undead in this, with the exception of the Tomb Kings. Different vampire counts armies anyway. If they're in a realm that doesn't have a lot of vampiric corruption, which their vampires spread, then their armies take a ton of damage from attrition. Alright, well, we just got authoritarian on King Lewin,
You seek the lady's favor.
which has reduced the amount of control that we're losing per turn.
You seek counsel. My reputation precedes me.
The only other thing about the Bretonians is we can't really retreat from battles, because it's dishonorable.
King,
I'm going to skip that. And as for Lady Ryan, what would be the odds of taking him out? 38%. And steel technology, 63%. Well, it was kind of a failure, but it was worth it to try and level you up. Because if we can get you the next rank of Cleanse Corruption, you'll really start to drain it there. Kind of curious as to what Emperor Karl Franz is doing. He's got a lot of state troops, though. That's probably going to be a good place. No. And cut. So we'll just pass it over to the other factions and see what they're going to do. Yeah, the Emperor took to the sea. Hopefully that draws the Norscans back up north. If he's going for Corone. Alright, so what do they got that's actually important? Because we're getting reinforcements in the form of a lot of knights and yeomen. Skin wolves are bad. Marauder, Ice Wolf, Chariot, and the rest is infantry. So we're going to fight it out. The good chaplain's going to be on his own until the reinforcements from the castle come in. It's going to be a real shame if we lose Chaplain Grimaldus right off the bat. I mean, he lived through the entire last campaign, so we'll see how this works out. But we're definitely not starting him there. Where is our reinforcements coming in from? Up here. Still give us a chance to sit down and shoot. That is a lot of marauders.
Doing your bidding. Defensive position. As you say, doing our duty. 'Tis an honor. Hold steady. Doing our duty.
Alright, I think that's all of our troops. Swordmen at arms with shields and spears, and those are the regular ones. Now it's just a matter of getting everybody set up and into position before the crunch. Alright, so we'll get these guys coming out here like so. Get our swordsmen down there. Chaplain, if you'll go into the middle of the formation, that would be great. And we want our trebuchets as high as possible. Get our archers down into the middle. Knights of the Realm. And mounted yeomen. Alright, so let's see how everybody works their stuff out. We need those trebuchets to move it. This could actually be a fairly crippling blow, because if we lose a lot of this army and they end up attacking Corone, we'll have to retake Corone, which is going to hurt us big time. With any luck, that won't occur, though. So let's get our knights down a little bit further. I want to take out that chariot as quickly as possible. If it's charging towards us, let's just send them. And we can have the yeomen back them up. I got to avoid getting focused on the fight too much.
Your orders for my liege.
Let's pull our Knights of the Realm out.
We live to serve.
It's mostly hit and run with the Bretonnians. Most yeomen are getting their butts kicked. That is a lot of marauders.
We serve the king.
Alright, it's time for the crunch. A little bit sooner than I had hoped. There's a lot of marauders coming in. I'm really hoping that our guys don't get tangled up too much, because we're outnumbered pretty significantly here. We don't have really much hope of doing this protracted,
God help us!
so we're going to have to continually withdraw and try and get that charge back on.
Bowman ready! 'Tis an honor! Withdraw!
Pretty much expected those spearmen to break. If we can shoot down those berserkers, though, that would be great.
Up my Donya!
This is actually looking pretty grim from the start.
Brave knights! Hose! Aye! Horses ready!
I'm really hoping this doesn't turn into a back-breaking sort of thing.
Pass! Peasant bowman!
Okay, they're retreating.
I'm good!
Let's see if we can get those marauders down at the same time. Grimaldus is doing a fair bit of work in the middle.
God help us! Ready to loose! The Grail vow is mine! Peasant bowman!
Alright, where are we starting to get broken through the most? Right down near our Knights of the Realm. I'd love to be able to pull Chaplain back to deal with this, but that's not going to happen. Wolfric's doing his thing. This is looking pretty grim.
Righteous fury! Spare man at arms!
I think our archers are going to be the make or break point of this.
Withdraw!
But I don't think our knights are going to hold long enough.
Withdraw! Fill him with holes!
The archers are putting some work in, though.
Aye! Arrows ready!
It's really coming down to how many arrows we can get into the enemy before something bad happens.
Shields! Aye! Kill 'em all! Spearmen at arms!
Are we breaking them enough to get them to withdraw, though? That's the question.
Withdraw! We serve the king! Withdraw! Knocked and ready! Fire! To arms!
I don't think we're going to be able to pull this one out, but we did a significant amount of damage to them. I hope we don't lose Corone. I mean, they'd still have to build some siege equipment, which will allow King Lewin to get back in. And Grimaldus might have to have been the son of this Grimaldus, because this one might not make it. I think that's pretty much going to do it for our forces, though.
Draw weapons! For the lady! Weapons ready!
Even if we are cutting down a significant amount of Norsemen,
Leg it! purpose.
Well, we hurt them. A fair bit, in fact. But, I don't think it's going to be enough. And the naming convention may change with Grimaldus himself. The Lord might be his dad. Because he might die if Wulfric continues up into the hills. And he just started raiding, which means we'll be able to fight him on the next turn. And the elves are fighting one another. I'm guessing Wulfric isn't thinking that we can take him on. No, there was one little stutter this episode when I thought it was going to be over, but no, I wanted to push it. What are you doing, Marienburg? Okay, well that's going to be the start of our next show, because, oh wow, Bestone, don't go to war with Muzelon, no! And Bordlow is now at peace with Muzelon? Bordlow, what are you doing, man? They're vampires. Oh wow, things are chaotic as heck right now. Alright, so there's one more turn on everything. We'll be able to survive it with that. But that's probably a good place to end it for this time, guys. If you liked the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to be part of the 232 and maybe see your name pop up in one of these Let's Plays, just hit that subscribe button. And make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes out. And remember, guys, life is a game, so play to win. And until next time, take care.